What's up, YouTube? Today I am delighted to do a review of the Assassin's Creed series, some of my favorite games in the entire world. They had their ups and downs, but I'm a big fan of the series. I'm going to be going over all the games and reviewing each game briefly. Plus I'll say a few words about Assassin's Creed Mirage, the new game, coming out in October. I will be doing the review from memory. I did not replay the games recently or anything like that. And I think that's the correct way to do it. Because how you remember the game, how it stays with you from the time you played it, when it was new and relevant, that's what matters. Because it's the job of the developers to keep the newest game up to date with the current gaming atmosphere, sort of. Because the graphics get updated all the time, new elements of gameplay get added to the gaming landscape, which we expect to see in every game, and you judge every game according to how it felt when it came out, and that's what I'm gonna do. So a general remark about the Assassin's Creed series, because I don't want to mention it for each game separately. The graphics is always amazing, it's always top of the line. You will always get a feast for the eyes experience on the graphics department. Another thing that's always amazing, that's sort of their thing with Assassin's Creed, is the architecture. You cannot talk about Assassin's Creed without mentioning the architecture. It's one of the things I think that got people excited about this franchise to begin with. It's what got it kicked off. The architecture in every game is absolutely phenomenal and realistic. What they do is, in every game, they take a city or a country or a region and they recreate it for us to run through and climb all the different, buildings and structures and historical places and assassinate people from rooftops or whatever. And they do an absolutely phenomenal job at it. So those are two things that I can say about the entire series in general. Also, the story is almost always absolutely amazing throughout the series, but I'll be talking about that. As I said, they had their ups and downs. So let's start with the first game, the very first Assassin's Creed 1, the game that jump-started this whole franchise. People got really excited about this game because of the combination of things that I have already mentioned, the amazing graphics and the realistic architecture. The first game takes place in the old city of Jerusalem, in the time of the Templars, the Crusaders, Saladin, that whole era, and they have constructed the city absolutely beautifully. You climb all the buildings and you jump between the rooftops and all of that. Absolutely great. And combine that with the element of stealth, an amazing epic story that it had. It was just an amazing game for the time. Maybe it's even an amazing game for today, I'm not sure. Maybe, again, it will be a little weird to play an old game like that today. But I am going to give this game a 9.5. It lacked maybe a little in the challenge department. I remember the combats not being all that challenging. Like towards the end of the game, I remember you're fighting like virtually an entire army and kicking everyone's asses. Which is fun, but it's fun. The combat is fun, but not really all that challenging. Still, okay, an amazing game, absolutely amazing game. Okay, Assassin's Creed 1, 9.5, amazing game. Okay, the next game in the series, Assassin's Creed 2, I am actually going to treat it as a trilogy. I'm going to treat the next 3 games as one piece, because they all tell one story in 3 games. It was Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and then it was Assassin's Creed Revelations, if I am not mistaken. Those 3 games tell the story of Ezio Auditore. Again, absolutely amazing story, an epic, climatic ending to that story. I'm not gonna do too much spoilers. Now, as the games move along, from 2 to Brotherhood to Revelations, they did add some elements which were fun and done in good taste, The gameplay was really fun. I remember it was addictive. It happened in Italy, in Rome. I don't remember if the entire trilogy was in Rome or maybe it started in a different place in Italy. but each game added another map, and it was in the time of the Renaissance. You know, they had like Leonardo da Vinci as a character there. Again, without doing too many spoilers. Amazing. The whole trilogy was amazing. It was great. It was very climatic and epic. I remember it ended and you were like, "Aww." So the Ezio trilogy, I'm going to give that thing again a 9.5. For the same reason, I guess. I mean, it's like it's basically a perfect game, but maybe, you know, it could be a little more challenging on the combat department. Next we had Assassin's Creed 3, which happened in America. The main hero was a Native American dude. The story was okay. To be honest, I don't even remember that game all that much, for better or for worse. I do remember what happened in the game, and they did add some elements. I remember they added hunting. The story was good, but in my memory it didn't stand out particularly. Assassin's Creed 3. Just another nice Assassin's Creed game. I'm going to give it 8.5, I think. It wasn't as epic as the previous games, but it was a nice game. It was a good game. Okay, 8.5. It's a good score. Okay, moving on to Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Now, I remember when I finished playing Assassin's Creed Black Flag, I told my wife this was the best game I've ever played in my life. And I think that many people agree, from what I saw online, that this is the best Assassin's Creed ever. Black Flag was an absolutely amazing game. It was so much fun. It mostly happens at sea. The main character is a pirate, so it's like in the Caribbeans, obviously. His name was Edward something, I don't remember the name, but it doesn't matter. It had a lot of activities. There was a lot of, you know, treasure hunting and under the water activities. You fought some legendary ships, like ghost legendary ships, which were hard and challenging. You needed to upgrade your ship to keep up with the more challenging foes throughout the game. Absolutely perfect game. I'm going to give this game a 10. Absolutely amazing game. Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Wow. Again, I don't know how it would feel today, but an absolutely perfect game. Now the next game, I think that's where they started losing it a little bit. They didn't quite know where to go from Black Flag, which was a phenomenal success. So they sort of tried recreating it, I guess. The next game is Assassin's Creed Rogue, and I actually did not finish playing it. I started playing it, and I remember thinking, okay, I liked Black Flag a lot, but I'm not looking to, you know, play it twice necessarily. Or if I was looking to play it twice, I would just replay Black Flag. But you're giving me another game that is sort of the same, but maybe with a story that isn't as good as Black Flag. So they didn't really know what to do. I think, I don't know, they just tried to recreate Black Flag, and yeah, I remember I got bored after a while. Just felt like I was doing the same thing again, and I quit playing it. I'm gonna give this game 6, maybe a 6.5 if I'm being generous. That's what I remember from this game. The next game is another problematic game. It is, in fact, the most controversial game in the series. It's called Assassin's Creed Unity. It takes place in Paris. Now, remember how I said that the architecture is always amazing? A fun little trivial fact. I don't know if it's a fact, it's a story that I read somewhere. Yeah, you remember a few years back when the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris burned? So I read that Ubisoft actually reached out to those people and offered them their plans, their schematics of the church, of the cathedral that they had from Assassin's Creed Unity. Because their architecture is always so accurate, they have every stone in the correct place, so they could actually provide the plans to do, renovations, to do the restructuring of the damage. So it takes place in Paris. What they try to do in this game is they sort of try to go back a little to the original concept of the stealthy stuff, the Assassin's Creed stealthy stuff. And they did try to add elements to it. They were a little ballsy, they were being experimental. This game did not lack challenge. I did not finish playing Assassin's Creed Unity as well. It was really frustrating. Now, I know what you're thinking. On the one hand, you're complaining about the game not being challenging enough, and then when you get a game with challenge, you're complaining about it being frustrating. Okay, there are good ways and bad ways to be challenging. Okay, a good challenge is when you have like a really difficult boss that you have to learn their moves and their timings and their sequences, and it takes you many attempts, many tries until you get everything right, and then you can beat them, and then it's really satisfying and it takes you a long time. That's a good challenge. That's the kind of challenge that gamers are looking for. But then a game can be challenging in a not so fun way, like you have a challenging part in the game, you fail, and then the game takes you like fucking 20 minutes back, and you have to replay everything again till you get to your second attempt at the challenging part. And if the part is really challenging, as some of them are in Unity, then you have to do those 20 or 15 minutes or whatever again and again and again and again and again for hours just to try to pass that part until you eventually make it, and then you really, fucking finally, and then you move on, you progress a little, and then after a little while you have another challenging bit, and then you fail that, and then it takes you all the way back to the fucking beginning again. And you have to get to the first challenging part, and you have to go past that again. You get what I'm saying? It can get really frustrating when the game makes you do all that, and why? Like, if you have a challenging bit, just take me to the beginning or maybe a little bit before to have another go at it. Another thing that was annoying was like the free run was awkward, and often the character wouldn't, exactly go through the angle that you would expect him to. I don't know, it was just awkward. I guess they were trying to make the free run more challenging, but it was just awkward and annoying. Anyway, I didn't have a great experience with that game. It was really frustrating and not challenging in a fun way. So I just quit playing it in the middle of the game. But it had its advantages, It was pretty challenging, okay, I'll give it that. They were pretty ballsy, they tried a few things there. Didn't really work. Anyway, I'm going to give this game 6.5. That is my verdict. Anyway, next game. Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Syndicate was nice. It was in London in the 1800s, I think. A brother and a sister, assassins, building a gang, being happy. No, just kidding, they weren't all that happy. Anyway, Syndicate was nice, looked great, they added some elements, they had those cool gadgets in the game. They had some activities that you need to do, taking over parts of the city, whatever. It was nice. This game really lacked challenge. It's a nice game. It's pretty good, but it really lacked challenge. Like, I remember the last boss of the game, it took me like 2 or maybe 3 attempts to beat him. That is not the correct amount of attempts to beat the final boss of the game. So I'm going to give this game like an 8. 7.5 even. Okay, which is not that low, but yeah, I had to take a few points there for the lack of challenge. Now, after Syndicate, they sort of changed direction. They started making the games more RPG-y, open world-y. Great games. Less Assassin's Creed-y, less, focus on the whole stealth, secret society thing, concept. More open world RPG, huge maps, different activities, again, stuff to do. Developing your character, a lot of, building different builds for your character. All of those stuff, progressed along the next 3 games, which are Origins, or Origin, which was in ancient Egypt, a character named Bayek. A really, really great game, a lot of fun, a great RPG open world game. Plenty of challenge. I'm gonna give this game 9.5, maybe even a 10. Just a great game. Not all that Assassin's Creed, but just a great game. Assassin's Creed Origin. Really recommend playing it if you haven't already. The next one was Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Same concept. Open world RPG, huge map. Ancient Greece, a lot of islands. A lot of battles. Yeah, same thing basically. Different cultural background. Maybe some new elements, more builds for your character. And I'm going to give this game, again, maybe not as much as Origin. It was also a great game. More like if Origin was 9.5 or a 10, this one is 9 or 9.5. Just a little bit less. I don't know, it just felt a little less. In both games they had extensions which were great, which you were fighting like gods, the mythological gods of that culture, which were really difficult, in the good way, challenging in the good way that I spoke about before, where you have to learn your opponent and it takes you a while to beat them. Great. Also, what they added in those new games is some supernatural stuff. You have like magical weapons and supernatural abilities that you acquire along the way, which some people liked and some people didn't, but it's nice, I guess. It's a matter of taste, personal taste. And then we move to the last game so far at the series before Mirage, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. The upcoming game that's upcoming in October, I think. The last game in the series so far was Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Okay, you can guess where that is happening. You're a Viking named Eivor, and you're going to England, obviously like in all the Viking series. Again, without doing too much spoilers, you need to find allies, there are mini games, there is a story, there's stuff to do in each region of England. The base game of Valhalla was pretty good. I liked the story, I enjoyed the game. The fights were not bad. That game had extensions that were pretty bad. Okay, generally speaking, Valhalla, it really felt like they're trying to milk that cow dry, like money-wise. They were trying to milk as much money from us as possible. Again, the base game was pretty good. I'm going to give the base game like an 8.5, okay? It's pretty good. But then when I finished playing it, I remember I felt like a prisoner, because there was like this guy, this kid, that in the game that you needed to go to every day in a certain hour. It would update, online. It would give you different items each day that you can buy with this currency that you get by doing missions for this kid. And it's always the same missions. They had like a variety of like, I don't know, 6 or 8 missions. Each day you would get 2 of them. And then you will get some of those coins that you can buy different stuff that usually costs money. And you were so motivated in this game to, upgrade your character and get more equipment and stuff, that after you stopped playing the game, you still, felt obligated to go to this place every day and, see what he's got. Let's see what we got today. It was hard to detach from that. I felt like a prisoner. And then they released several extensions where you like raid with some folks. That wasn't good at all. It sucked. And the next extensions I didn't even play, but I understood that people didn't like them either. So again, generally I'm going to give this game an 8.5 maybe for the base game. But bad Ubisoft, bad. Although they did make a shitload of money from that game. So I guess they were successful in their own way. Anyway, that was the Assassin's Creed series. So far, great games. I really enjoyed playing almost all of them, apart from the ones that I mentioned, apart from the elements that were problematic that I mentioned. And now we've got Assassin's Creed Mirage coming out in October, which I'm really excited about. What they're trying to do with Mirage, from what I can tell from the trailer, they try to sort of go back to the start, go back to the origins, the original concept of Assassin's Creed. First of all, the cultural background is similar. They're going back to the whole Arabian atmosphere that was present in the first game. In the first game, the hero's name was Altair, by the way. Altair. I failed to mention that. So it has a feel similar to the first game in that regard. Also, it seems that they're bringing back, all the elements of stealth. It looks like there's gonna be a lot of stealth, and it's gonna be somewhat of a challenging stealth, I hope. What they need to do here to pull this off is they need to be able to bring all those original elements of Assassin's Creed to today's standards, today's gaming standards. It needs to be challenging, the stealth needs to be challenging but not awkward. It needs to have, all the right elements that today's games have, that we're just used to and expect to get in modern games. I think it's a challenging task. Do I trust the Ubisoft developers to pull this off? I guess I do. I think it will be a good game. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope not to be proven wrong. I'll definitely pre-order the game and play it. I'll probably release a walkthrough of me playing the game. That's my just fucking playing the game series. I'm gonna do that with Assassin's Creed Mirage, definitely. Anyway, that was my review. Those were my few words to input about the Assassin's Creed series and the upcoming Mirage game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have anything to add, you guys disagree, you guys agree, you have something to say, you can say it in the comment section below. You can like, you can subscribe, and as always, I hope you guys have a great day. See you guys later.